Hello and welcome to another episode of Morgan's Pop Talks, breaking down the latest in reality TV and pop culture. We have a busy week, and not just because of Bethany Frankel, which is exciting, terrifying, a little scary. But isn't it always? It's the thrill that keeps us coming back for more. But before we get into all of that, I have some good news, you guys. I have some good news. I haven't said it out loud yet, actually, now that I think about it. If you've been here a while, you know that your girl's trying to get married. Your girl's been trying to get married since March of 2022. But the United States immigration process is a lot, to say the least. It's hell on earth. It's a nightmare. It is the highway to hell. And my fiance, David, and I, we've been through it. We've been through the absolute ringer. It has been almost 16 months of paperwork and fees and interviews and all these things and proving our relationship and passport stamps. I mean, so many things. Letters from your family proving that you're really in love with each other. It has been 16 months of just stress, anxiety, you know, of wanting something to happen so bad and having no control over the speed of which it happens. So we've been waiting for all of our stuff to be approved. We've been waiting for the last update I gave you was that our case was at the National Visa Center, which was good, right? That meant all of our paperwork was approved. Now we're getting a case number. As soon as we get the case number, it'll be sent from the National Visa Center to the US Embassy in London. And once that happens, David will be able to have his interview, get his medical exam, and hopefully be approved for a visa. Well, as of earlier this week, I went on our little NVC tracker, which is very handy. And, you know, we were waiting. We were just waiting for one little line to change. For a long time, it was saying in transit, in transit, in transit, which meant it was in, which meant it was in transit. Who would have thunk? From the NVC to the US Embassy. I open it up on Tuesday morning. What does it say? Ready. Ready, which means David is ready to go for his medical exam. He is ready to go for his interview. And those are the last two things that we have to do before we can get married to each other. So your girl can be married within 6 weeks if all goes to plan. There's just a few things that we're having to go over. There's still like one very long paper that we have to fill out. But as of right now, David has his medical exam scheduled for the first week of September. And then I'm going to visit him in September, where it's going to be my last time going to London. We're going to go to Greece because why the heck not? And then hopefully, you know, a couple of days after I come back to the States, he'll be able to have his interview. He could be here by October. You guys, we're just excited. We're excited. We're happy. Love life. Love, love. Love is patient. I know that's true. Period. Dot. So yeah, keep your T's and P's that nothing bad happens. And let's get on with the show, shall we? Okay, first up on the Pop 3, Scooter Braun. Everybody wants to know what the heck is going on with Scooter Braun. One of the most recognizable names in management when it comes to these A-list singers. He manages Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, Demi Lovato, Idina Menzel, maybe? Because it seems like a lot of these artists are dropping him like it's hot. So reports, and it depends who you ask, which we'll get into this in a second, but reports of big artists leaving Scooter Braun's management. Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, Demi Lovato, Idina Menzel, who actually left in January, which I think is important. Demi, sources say that the split was amicable. No big deal. Idina Menzel, like I said, January, it's just now coming out. Justin Bieber, depending on what publication you go to, they are still working together or they're not still working together. Same goes for Ariana Grande. If Ariana Grande did leave, this would be the second time that she has left. There are a lot of theories, some big, some small, as to what's going on with Scooter Braun. I mean, the first there's a big scandal about to drop, like that's what everybody's mind immediately goes to. If you have all these A-listers that no longer want to be under your umbrella, something's going to come out. There's a big scandal. Although I've heard no other information about that. The second conspiracy theory, if you will, is that Taylor Swift is continuing to take over the world and she's starting her own music label that would give artists the rights to all of their songs, their lyrics, especially because Taylor Swift, Scooter Braun have a long history of baby, now we got bad blood. Just a TikTok theory, but I honestly could see that happening because like Taylor Swift is out for world domination and we support her. The third and most, I would say, down to earth answer is that he's getting out of management. Or at least he's stepping back. So sources tell Variety that Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande are not leaving the company, but rather Scooter Braun is continuing to step back from day-to-day management to focus on his role as CEO of Hybe America. This is a South Korean entertainment giant behind K-pop stars like BTS, to which he sold Ithaca Holdings, the parent company for his SB Projects, Scooter Braun Projects management business. He sold that for $1.05 billion in 2021. Chump change, So sources also tell Variety all of Scooter Braun's clients are under contract and negotiations have been going on for several months as Scooter steps into his larger role as Hybe America CEO. People are spreading rumors based on what they know, but they are off. Scooter's team at SB Projects are still handling both Justin and Ariana as they work through what this new structure looks like. However, other sources insist that Justin Bieber, who recently cleaned house and brought in a new attorney, agency, and business manager, is set on leaving SB Projects. I mean, that's the most realistic, right? That's the most logical. If you are a manager and you're not managing in the little leagues, you're managing A-list celebrities here, and you're moving into a new role as CEO of an entertainment company, you're not going to have the time or mental bandwidth to be Justin Bieber's manager. Like I feel like one person should be Justin Bieber's manager, and that's like the only thing they should be doing from now until they no longer work because of probably how much goes into it. So we'll see. I mean, I love the conspiracy theories. I love a conspiracy theory. But so far, that's all the information on Scooter Braun. Britney Spears and Sam Asghari in number 2 of the pop 3. After 14 months of marriage, they are getting divorced. Sam filed. He cited irreconcilable differences in the file and is asking for spousal support and attorney's fees. So here's the interesting part. Everyone's wondering, what about the prenup? It's ironclad in favor of Britney, right? But Sam's lawyer, Neil Hirsch, is hinting that they may contest the prenup. Britney lawyered up real quick. She got Laura Wasser, who is like the head honcho. When you think Scooter Braun at the top of the music industry, you think Laura Wasser at the top of divorce proceedings. Like that's the girl that you want. She's also doing Kevin Costner's divorce, and his wife is contesting their prenup. So she's very well versed. She's ready for it. But Sam listed the date of separation as July 28th of 2023. So Britney was posting some things over the weekend. She was like rolling around in bed with no clothes on. There was a group of shirtless men holding her. And to each their own. People are going to deal with adversity the way they're going to deal with it. But sometimes I just wish that like Britt, can I be your girl? Like she needs some strong women in her life that are not just there to shake her like a piggy bank like it seems everybody else is. Like Britt needs some people in her corner. And I mean, TMZ is reporting that she really doesn't have anybody in her corner, that right now her inner circle is her manager and her lawyer, attorney Matthew Rosengart and her manager, Kate Hudson, who, by the way, not Kate Hudson, Cade Hudson, I know they sound similar, was one of the shirtless men that was like holding Britney up in that little video. But anyways, TMZ saying that those are the only two people that are helping her with appointments, with food, with, anything, life admin. But as of this week, other reports coming out that she may be letting her family back in. Her brother Brian has allegedly been helping her as she kind of navigates this next chapter. A source told TMZ that he's been staying over and helping her alongside a therapist. Brian has stayed out of the spotlight, unlike her sister, Jamie Lynn. So I feel like if she was going to reconnect with a sibling, it probably would be Brian. Brittany's dad, Jamie, is also, we learned, sick this week, and rumors are circulating that she might reconcile with her dad. Sources are saying that she doesn't want to regret not patching things up because her dad is sick and who knows what's going to happen. Jamie has been in and out of the hospital because he has a nasty infection at the site of his decade-old knee replacement. So, I mean, that could go a number of different ways, but the reports are saying that he's lost 25 pounds throughout this whole ordeal. And an insider says that he got word Brittany is talking positively and is said to be elated. So we will see about that. The last headline in this week's Pop 3, we had to talk about Bethenny Frankel, which if you want my thoughts on parts 1 through 3, that's an extra pop. The link is in the show notes below. But Bethenny Frankel is responding to backlash that she has received over this interview with Rachel Leviss. I mean, have we all emotionally recovered yet? Is my first question from 3 days of just be 3 days of wow. You know, that's all Bethenny said throughout the entirety of the interview. General thoughts. I mean, I pretty much echo everybody else's sentiments. It didn't really do Rachel any favors. I think it was pretty clear that Bethenny had her own agenda going into it. And it was way more about this reality reckoning than it was about Rachel getting her story out. I do think that Rachel did some introspection, but I think she also, I mean, I hate to say it, is very easily manipulated. And Bethenny took the reins on this one and she steered the ship, you know, down the highway to hell, down the reality reckoning, where, like I said, it no longer became about what Rachel has been going through these past couple of months, her perspective on things. It became, well, why was Andy begging you to come back? You know, just like not the point, not what viewers would want to know. I don't know. And, you know, I'm not the only one who has that opinion. I think a lot of people are accusing her of exploiting Rachel the same way that she's accusing Bravo of exploiting people. So Bethenny said on another episode of Just Be that I listened to, you're welcome. She says, interviewing Rachel, going viral, breaking the internet, so many rumors, so many press articles. It's unsettling, to be honest. She's gotten a lot of the hate from the world, and I'm taking on a lot of that hate. She said, people I really respect in the entertainment industry and politics, government, business, and people I just interact with on a day-to-day are all saying to me, you're doing the right thing. I'm totally on the right side of history. I've had 5 documentarians reach out to me who want to do documentaries. I struck a chord and a nerve. Then she says, whether I paid her or not, how do you know what I did? How do you know what I'm doing with her? Which we'll come back to that point because that's a very telling sentence, I think. She says, nobody knows what I'm really doing, but I love the speculation. We're number 1 worldwide. We're having a conversation with a woman who hasn't been able to get a conversation out unedited. I mean, there you have it. What do you hear in those sound bites? Me, I. I'm doing the right thing. I'm getting a documentary. I'm the number 1 podcast in the world. I'm now getting the hate that Rachel was getting. She's on Instagram posting her little sticker, number 1 podcast in the world, just like I knew she would, because at the end of the day, this isn't about Rachel. This is about Bethenny. And I'm not coming for Bethenny for having Rachel on her podcast. Any podcast host in the world would have Rachel on. Any podcast in the world. But when you score the interview of the year and you make it about your own self-interest disguised in concern for another human being, it's like grimy, in my opinion, because she's not concerned. She's not concerned about what happened to Rachel. She's concerned about the fact that Andy Cohen was calling her back into the reunion. She's like, did anybody give you a tissue, Rachel? She wasn't crying. Why would somebody give a tissue to somebody who's not crying? It's just wild to me. And, you know, my theory, you know, she says, what's that point that I was saying? How do you know what I'm doing with her? Rachel's going to start a podcast. Bethenny's going to start a network. Bethenny's going to start some type of business, whether it's a podcast network, whether it's like a talent management, but Rachel's going to be her first talent that she's going to sign. And then she's going to be giving 20%. Rachel's going to be giving 20% to Bethany. And it's like, I don't know. And just one other thing, I guess, that I wanted to debunk before we get into the deep dive about getting paid, right? Rachel says on the podcast that producers say you get paid by how much you bring to the show, by how well you do, by the drama that you bring. When I first heard this, I thought, no, that's not right. Just based on other people, other Bravo Levs that I've talked to about salary, that's in my experience from what other people have told me, not how it works. It works by seniority, by how long that you have been on the show. Everybody gets paid their first year. Everyone gets paid the same amount the first year, same amount the second year. And you know, when she said that, I thought, okay, well, maybe it's different for different shows. But then Lala got on her podcast and confirmed this week that is the case, that you get paid based on how long you've been on the show. So the fact that Ariana and Tom are going to be paid more because they've been on the show for 10 years, as opposed to Rachel, who's had 2 full-time seasons, which I understand. And I mean, Lala also in her podcast episode pointed out some other lies that Rachel was spewing, or at least Lala was giving her side of the story. One thing I will say is that I heard a clip from Stassi's podcast, and she was talking about how in her experience, producers tend to protect men more in this reality TV space. How you have this scene with Sandoval and Raquel where she says to him on camera, you recorded this video without my consent. It was completely edited out of the show. You know, Tom said, if we don't reshoot it or if you don't edit it out, I'm gone. And she's like, Stassi was like, that's a huge deal. And it is. That's a huge deal. It's illegal, first of all. I'm pretty sure. I guess I shouldn't say things I'm not entirely sure about. But and the fact that they just were like, yeah, okay, Tom, sure. And it's like, on one hand, you know, the story has to continue. We have to have Tom there. I think Tom is more important than Rachel in the sense, I've said that from the beginning, just because we've known Tom longer. But yeah, I just found that interesting. And I think it's sad. Anyways, let's get into the deep dive. We're going to do a Bachelorette recap because the finale was everything. I feel like it gets tens across the board from how the season played out to who our next Bachelor is. I have a little issue with the Dancing with the Stars of it all, but to help deep dive this week, I have brought in Bachelor specialist. You know where you love her from the Bachelor podcast and from Betches, Kay Brown. Kay, welcome back to the pod. Good to see you.
Great to be here. This is my second time. I'm so excited.
I know. I was thinking about that when I asked you because I totally put Kay on the spot literally yesterday and was like, please, I need somebody to talk to about the finale because I feel like there's just so much. And I'm just glad that you were willing to come on last minute.
Of course, I was in Target. I saw my phone. I was like, let's go.
Okay. Well, overall, let's just get a general consensus. How do you feel about this season?
Honestly, and I think this is one of my favorite seasons that I've seen because there were so many moments that Charity showed us that like I'm not settling for anything else. Like this is the bar. This is what I'm accepting. And also, I don't know about you, but I really haven't seen many relationships like Charity and Dotton's that seem so genuinely real. Like he has been so level-headed this entire time, and not worried about anything, no drama. He's just like, I'm here for Charity. And I mean, wow.
I know. I'm so happy. I'm thrilled because I was off the Bachelor train. I was so far off of it. I was like, the only reason why I'm still watching the show is because my job entails it. I wasn't enjoying it. I was like complaining every second. And this has like sparked new hope in me that it's not dead and gone. And I think, you know, not only was Charity an amazing Bachelorette, I think she delivered on like everything you want in a Bachelorette. Charity gave, but you also have to remember that this is the first season that Mike Fleiss is no longer involved. There's new people behind the scenes. And I just feel like it was very reminiscent of the old Bachelor franchise that we grew up on, that got us interested to begin with. I mean, did you feel that?
Yeah, and I also think one of the reasons maybe why we liked it better was because it was a shorter season. There
Yes.
wasn't 13 episodes of nonsense. I mean, they did. I do not think we needed a 3-hour finale,
Yeah.
etc. There are certain things that I feel like were super drawn out, but
Mhm.
I felt like I really got to know these men way more than I've gotten to know in other seasons or women in general,
Yeah.
because they also condensed the amount of people that were there. So I got
Yeah.
to know them more. And then we got to see them more on screen, but it wasn't an overload where you felt burdened with watching
Mhm.
so many episodes.
Yeah, I agree. I know that that has been like a complaint that I've been seeing a lot, just like in my comment section. The
Mhm.
season is so short. Like, why is she getting gypped? But I feel like it makes every moment feel important. There's like
Yeah.
not a moment that you can be scrolling on your phone during a group date. So I was all about it. All about
Me
it.
too. Me too. I really liked this season. I think she was great. And I also got to meet Charity,
Yeah,
and
tell
she
us
is
about that.
her and I became like when she was on last season, we sort of became like internet friends.
Yeah.
And then when she was announced as the Bachelorette, I was like, oh my God, like love this. And literally been talking on Instagram forever and became like besties. And I finally got to meet her at the Men Tell All where we did a really fun interview or TikToks and stuff with her. But it
Yeah.
was like two friends meeting for at the same time. And it was like, I don't know. It was
Don't
really
you love
great.
the internet?
Yes. And I mean, here we are. We haven't met in
Right.
person, but like we're talking and you're literally a complete stranger, but we have
Right.
already so much in common and we feel comfortable talking to each other online like this. So I think she's great, just such a fun person.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I'm a little biased, but I really
So
love this
am
season in
I. But
general.
it's fine. It's fine. I'm totally biased. And I'm even so biased towards Dotton. I mean, if anyone has listened to the podcast, from the minute he steps out of the limo, and I remained spoiler free for this entire season, which is like the
Same.
first time in a long time that I've done that. The way she looked at him, I was like, she just fell in love with this man. Like
Yeah.
literally love at first sight.
I mean, I would look at a guy who's 6'7" just
Right.
like that. But that's me. But
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think she looked at him and she was like, it was a switch had flipped,
Yeah.
and it's not like that on every season. You didn't get the first impression rose, which this is a different move for The
Yeah.
Bachelor. Usually the bachelorettes who give the first impression rose, that's who ends up getting picked in the end. But here we are.
Here we are. Okay, let's start at the beginning of the finale with Aaron coming back. Surpri- I was just surprised a lot by this. I feel like this was maybe um not entirely orchestrated by producers, but maybe heavily pushed by producers, because it's like one of those things where yes, you still have this connection with Aaron. He flew all the way back to Fiji. Like, are you really going to tell him no? But at the end of the day, the problem with her relationship with Aaron still was about time. And how much more time did they have between that conversation and the rose ceremony? An hour, maybe? Like,
Right.
things aren't going to change in an hour. What did you think about her letting Aaron back on just to, walk him out however many hours later?
I think this goes back to what Charity's mom was saying, is that she is not great at decision making. And I think, just like you said, she kept him because he flew all the way out here.
Right.
Giving, like, he's saying that he sees her as the mother of his children. But I also feel, I don't even know if it was produced or orchestrated. I think it was Aaron orchestrated, because I realized he's very close friends with Aaron Clancy, and from Katie's season, Paradise, etc., who doesn't have like a great rep for being somebody who's there for the right reasons. And so it felt very like I didn't believe anything Aaron B said to her. I didn't believe anything. Like it felt very like fake.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I wanted to give us another chance. Like, I want you to see what kind of a man I am. And he's coming back for this. But at the end of the day, like, she sent you home.
Yeah.
Like, you were the one she sent home at the end of the day, and coming back, it's like, don't make her do that again. Like, that sucks.
Yeah.
And now you have to have like a round trip 24-hour day in Fiji, and then you have to go back.
Yeah. And I mean, I didn't think about it like that, but when you put it into perspective also of what we saw for the Bachelor in Paradise teaser, when he tells
Mhm.
Eliza that he's falling in love with her, it's like, oh, like you're that
It's
kind
also
of guy.
I think it's all on screen. Like, I want to have camera time. I want to be a part of this. Doesn't care about the consequences or anybody else's feelings, really. I don't know. I have icky vibes from Aaron. He just doesn't. It
That's
doesn't.
a hot take.
Yeah,
Okay.
it just doesn't register genuine to me.
Yeah. Well, and also I think Charity was just coming off of a pretty traumatic experience with Xavier.
Mhm.
You know, you have somebody a week out from proposal tell you that he doesn't know if he can be in a monogamous relationship pretty much.
LOL.
And then you have somebody fly, you know, back to Fiji. So I think part of it was probably maybe like a little security blanket type
Mhm.
moment or like a band-aid on something that was affecting her, but obviously Aaron lasted all of 2 minutes, and then in the episode we go from that to meeting the Lawsons, which this was the most dramatic part of the episode, just seeing Joey and Dotton's dates back to back. And it's not that, I mean, they loved Joey. They loved Joey. And it's not that they
Yeah.
didn't love Dotton. They just really loved Joey. And this also might be an unpopular opinion here, but I feel like Joey, um, it's just like he's very inviting and people just look at him and they melt. Like they get lost in the Joey sauce a little bit. And during the whole
Mhm.
entire day, I couldn't help but remember what Uncle Joe, was his name Uncle Joe? Was his name Uncle Joe?
Uncle John or something
Uncle
like, I don't
John,
remember. Something like
Uncle
that. The
Jay,
uncle.
Uncle Jay, you know, saying about Joey, where he is a bit of a people pleaser in more or
Mm,
less words. So I was sitting there trying to figure out, and not that I think that Joey is insincere, because I think that he is sincere, but
yeah.
how much of that people pleasing played into his date with Charity's family?
Sure. No, I think I agree and disagree because for the entire season, Joey for me was sort of like a wet blanket. Like every time they were together, it felt like they were on like a second date. Like there wasn't like a ton of chemistry there.
Mhm.
But then I agree with you here where we see him on this, the final dates, meeting the parents. And this is when I'm like, oh,
Oh, yeah.
Joey has Riz. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Joey,
Yeah.
he was flirting with the mom. He was schmoozing with the family. Like, he
Yeah.
nailed that entire situation. And that right there. And then also when the breakup happened and those last final dates they had, that is when I really started to see Joey and be like, okay, I
Mhm.
get it now, especially when he was getting into that car. He was beat up
Yeah,
getting
that
into
was
that
rough.
car. But I think he just has like serious Riz and nailed it with the family. And just like you said, Dotton, I don't think he was bad at meeting the family. I just think he was not set up for success because
Yeah.
Joey was so good.
Yeah. And I mean, even looking back at like the way that they edited Dotton's date, or at least meeting the family, I feel like we barely saw it. Like I think there was maybe
Yeah.
2 sound bites that Dotton had with her family, one talking to her mom and one talking to her sister, and it was like one sentence. So I feel
Right.
like they also kind of were editing it to make it seem like to bring some drama, because I feel like it was pretty clear from the get-go that she was going to pick Dotton. And it
Mhm.
wasn't until that last episode where I was like you know, this whole time we were like, okay, yeah, Joey, he's cute, he's funny, he's got beautiful eyes, you know, all these things, but where's the depth to it? And this
Yeah.
was the first episode that I was like, oh, there it is.
I knew from the point when she was talking to after she talked to her mom and her sister, and you saw her reaction.
Yeah.
Saw that when they both were like, well, we kind of like Joey better. They didn't say that, but they kind of alluded to that.
Yeah.
I knew she wanted to pick Dotton because of that reaction.
Yes.
I was like, if you're feeling that type of way because they didn't say they liked him, like that's the one you should be choosing because you wanted them to say,
right.
I like him the best. So it's
Yeah.
like, listen, so her mom was right. You got to listen to your gut because that is right there. That was her gut talking. They were like, we like Joey better and she's upset about it. It's like, pick Dotun. You clearly want them to.
Did you think that, and I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but after the final rose, did you feel any awkwardness with the family still? It was still just a weird energy. What did the mom say? She was like, we've gotten to know Dotun better and it's good. And like, that was it. I was like, what is this? What's happening here?
No, I agree. It was super strange. I think that I don't know if it's the mom just not playing up the romance of everything. And she's like, yeah we like got to know him better. We like him because we're used to the parents like Pilot Pete's mom and this and that. So overly emotional and dedicated and die hard for the story and this and that, trying to make their kid look good or whatever. But I think her mom's just like, is what it is. It's a normal relationship. We like him now and is not feeding into the drama and the romance and is just trying to treat this as real life. But I agree. It felt weird because that's not what we're used to.
It was weird. I was like, oh, okay.
No, I totally agree. It felt bad because of that.
Okay, my next question, conspiracy theory, I guess. Do you think that Charity was really conflicted about who she was going to pick? Or do you think she was more conflicted about hurting Joey's feelings? About letting someone down? Yeah, I think that's really hard. That's really hard. I don't know which one I think, because I think both of them are true at the same time. Yeah. Because she was so adamant about having her mom tell me which one do you like? Just please, like the way she was begging and like, so nobody wants to have like that kind of back and forth with their parent, like on TV. Yeah. That's not really the ideal, but the way she was so adamant about getting that felt like she needed help picking, because I feel like she wasn't sure. But I do agree with you, especially because her decision making, she doesn't want to. I mean, I can't imagine how hard that would be. Like, like he's getting ready to go down on one knee and you have to yank him back up. Literally. Like, oh my gosh, that was. We have to find another way to do this, because they do this on other seasons. And I'm like, there has to be something like, go first. Charity, you talk first, because we can't have him spill his guts. Yeah. And then you pull him. I know. And part of me is like, I mean, I'm sure they are told, like, do not interrupt him, let him go first or whatever. But if I'm Joey, like, I'm not getting down on one knee. I need a smile. I need anything. But I think he was that sure. I think he was that sure. And especially because, you know, if you get through the whole speech of like, I love you, this and that, and she's smiling at you. Yeah. You would have, I mean, what's she going to do? Look at him and be like, you know, it's like, I wish I don't know how they remedy this. It's such a hard place to be in. Yeah. I think she should go first in that, for when they're sending the person home. It's like, they need to go first, because that's brutal. That is brutal. I mean, she yanked him back up. I know, she goes, don't. And I can't remember the last time that happened. I think it was it Nick? Nick and Caitlin? Maybe that. I think you're right. That might have been it. But man, that was like. That was rough. Oh, I mean, that was really, really rough. Really rough to watch. I think, honestly, what it all does boil down to and when you compare the two relationships, which, you know, we don't like to do, but we have to do because it's on TV, whatever. But she said that her relationship with Dotun was deeper. And I think that's the one word that really does just drive it home, where yes, she could have had this really intense connection with Joey. She could have seen a future, but I mean, just even the conversations that we saw Charity and Dotun have, they did just have a deeper connection. And honestly, I feel like the last time I was this happy with a proposal was Tayshia and Zach. I mean, I wasn't as confident in them though. Like, I didn't walk away from that thinking, oh, they're endgame and they're going to be together forever. Like I feel with Charity and Dotun. This is giving JoJo and Jordan energy. Yeah. You know, like this feels very secure. Also, I don't know about you, but I don't think I've ever seen this strong of a top two. Yeah. Like this was a real decision that had to be made. Also, both of these guys,
were so I don't know, just stayed out of the drama. They were focused on her. They
Yeah.
had no like issues. It was truly all about Charity, and they were like chill with each other, chill with the other guys. I mean, when she was walking Aaron out at the rose ceremony in Fiji, Joey says to Dot, and he goes, "Oh, I think he's going home. You're good, man." And I was like, like hyping up your like literal man that's in love with your girl. Like these are two really good guys, and I don't. This was a great. I don't know. This was a great season. I loved the ending. I loved both of them. Joey's going to be a great bachelor.
Yeah, let's move on to Joey because, like you said, you know, a great final two. It really did feel like an internal struggle for her. But I think everybody, the majority of people, I think the majority of the fan base wanted this exact scenario to play out. You know, Dot and Charity are supposed to be together. Joey for the Bachelor. It's been a while too since the runner-up has been the Bachelor. And I feel like that's why we've had some kind of wonky seasons, because you've had like a Clayton who was sent home way before and we're like, who's this guy?
Why?
And then even Zach, he was sent home later in the show, but still, we just didn't really know him. But we know Joey. We know that he's looking for something serious, hopefully. I mean, so give us your thoughts. You think he'll be a good Bachelor?
Well, I do now. I remember when the beginning of this finale episode came on and I was like, oh my God, they're announcing The Bachelor. Like, what? And obviously, like, I had heard rumblings around being like, oh my gosh, I hope it's Joey. And I'm like, I do not hope it's Joey. I went into this beginning of this being like, I hope it's not Joey. I thought he was like a wet blanket. There was no like personality there. He was kind of boring. Obviously a good looking guy, but just how is he going to date 30 women, like hold a room, be the main character? He doesn't give main character energy. But then you see the whole episode play out. You see, man, the second they showed him on screen during the proposal, they had that little box in the corner. And I was like, oh my God, I like, that's the glow up we want. That is the glow up we've been waiting for. Like, I see the Men Tell All is where the guys should all like come back looking correct after seeing themselves on TV. And Joey had the black suit on. He had figured out how to do his curls. They're shorter.
He looked so good.
He had the bronzer on. He was bronzed. And so he looked amazing and looked very main character. And then B, watching his reaction and his being like, I have closure because I saw them together and this, I'm like, okay.
Yes.
I'm down for this, but I do worry about the personality. I feel like it's a little dull.
I feel like also with, you know, I don't want to say like questioning his personality, but I always go back to Uncle Jay, whatever his name is. Like, I feel like he might be the type of Bachelor that falls in love with everybody. You know, because he just wears his heart on his sleeve and there's like, oh, well, this person gives me this and this person gives me this. And I can see a future with everybody because everybody's so great. And I said this the other day on a panel I was doing. Like, I want somebody, it's been a while since we've had like the switcheroo at the end where they, you know, get engaged to somebody and then they come back after the final rose and are like, no, I want my runner up. The last time it was Peter, but I feel like Joey gives me that energy.
Maybe Joey will be messy.
Yeah.
And it can be a really fun Bachelor episode.
Yes.
Who knows? Or season. I'm interested. I like that theory.
I love it.
But I'm interested to see how he does with having to be the main character. He just doesn't give, I can hold a room. I can be the personality that, because 30 women.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Different than 30 men.
Yeah.
Way different than 30 men. So I'm interested to see what happens there.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, before we get out of here, I want your thoughts on Charity going on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, okay. So it's hard for me to speak on Dancing with the Stars because I am not really a watcher of Dancing with the Stars, but I think this is a great trajectory.
Yeah.
A great
trajectory. Yeah.
Trajectory. Keep that in there. I think that's a great move for her just because like you see people who come off Dancing with the Stars. You have Hannah Brown, Caitlin Bristow, Gabby. They all have Tayshia. Did Tayshia do Dancing with the Stars?
No.
Okay. Tayshia had her own main character stuff going on.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm interested to see what happens with this. And it was crazy that they announced it on the show.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Again, I'm a bad person to ask about Dancing with the Stars because I don't really watch the show, but I think I'm going to this season because I'm curious.
Well, I mean, not only Charity, which I think is a great pick just because she is so beloved, but you have Ariana Madix, who's going to be competing.
Oh my gosh. Right.
So, I mean, everybody's going to be watching. So I don't fault Charity at all. I mean, if that opportunity is presented to you, you take it every time. I know that people are like, oh, this isn't going to be good for their relationship. And,
right.
Which, I mean, we saw Gabby and Eric, they broke up during Gabby's, tenure on Dancing with the Stars. But I also just feel like the relationships are totally different. Yeah. I feel like nobody ever was super bought into Gabby and Eric, where it's like,
no,
if your relationship is going to work, it's going to work regardless of if you go on Dancing with the Stars or not,
I can't remember, where do Charity and Dotun live? Like, how far apart are they? I don't remember. I truly do not remember.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm curious to see. Obviously, she's going to have a stint out here to film. Maybe he'll just stay with her for the time being, while she's out here.
The only thing I heard was that like his company, I don't know if it's based in California or if it has offices in California or something, but I heard something along the lines of it would be easy for him to work in California.
I mean, imagine going back to work.
Never. Couldn't be me.
like obviously that is what people should do because like this is not Endgame. Like, yes, you have all this right now. And at the end of the day, like you have about, a couple until the next season starts.
Yeah.
Before you don't have any more podcast interviews.
Right.
So, I mean, yes, but it's like the thought of that is so crazy because right now they're on doing their press tour with Good Morning America and this and that. And he's just going to go back to work next Monday.
Remember what he does.
I think he's some sort of data scientist or something.
Medical sales or something.
Yeah, something very like the life coach girl on the finale episode. She's like, I'm 23. I'm a life coach. I think I should be going. And I was like, because you can leave your job at any point in time. So it's, I don't know. I can't imagine going back to work like immediately and pretending like none of that just happened.
Yeah. I feel like though, if anybody was going to, it would be Dotun. I mean, he didn't even know that they were supposed to get engaged at the end of this.
Man.
God bless him. Truly.
Too pure for all of us.
Well, Kay, thank you. I appreciate you so much. Please tell everyone where they can follow you and then where they can hear your podcast as well.
Sure. You can listen to my podcast with Jared Freed. It's called The Bachelor. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple. And then you can also follow me at Kay York City on all platforms.
Kay, love you.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
All right, guys, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of MPT. Here's an important announcement. If you love The Bachelor content, if you want more pop culture content, subscribe to the Patreon because you can now listen on Spotify. Yes, if you are on Patreon, whether you're signed up for Papa Batch or Extra Pop, every single week, instead of having to getting to, I should say, watch the video on Patreon. If you want to listen to it on Spotify, you can do that as well. We're getting all the kinks worked out. So hopefully by this Friday, you'll be able to listen to all new upcoming episodes of Papa Batch and Extra Pop on Spotify. But if not, I'll see you back next week for another episode of MPT. And as always, love you like a sis.